you can have all of this technology, and you can have all of this. You can have the best product in the world, but if you don't have the team behind it to take care of your customers, you don't have the team behind it to take care of anything from the books to the inventory, logistics, and everything else in between, then you really don't have a company.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Your team matters more than you know. A lot of leaders would say these words, but it's actually true. Today, we have a very special episode about building a confident team. Our co-founder of FOHSE, they are a grow light company. They're probably a lot more than just cannabis grow lights, but they have an incredible pace of growth, over 14,000% in the last 3 years. And it really is incredible because they're doing it on 29 people. So how do you grow that fast? Well, Brett Stevens talks exactly about what does it take to create that kind of growth, specifically the team, why the people matter so much. The building a confident team comes from the way you hire people, bringing in people that have emotional maturity. We look at some of that inside the conversation today, and all of the other aspects that allow you to create that confident team. My hope is you have the team that you really want right now, and that you're investing in them so that they are growing and skill leveling up so that they have the ability to lead other teams. Now, one thing that you can do is check out a free training we put together that will help you figure that out for yourself. What are the 3 skills necessary for your team? You might want to look at this because you might need some of these aspects. I find a lot of executives that are not really doing that well on the 3 skills we talk about inside the training. This is about a 4 or 5 minute video, so it's not very long. Just go to genehammett.com/training. You'll get the 3 skills that are necessary for you to level up as a leader. And really, it's about how do you take the people that are on your teams right now and give them those skills so that you can focus on the most important, valuable work of growing the company, whether it be the vision for the strategies, new markets, new financing, new strategic partners. If you focus more time on that, your company would continue to grow and scale if your people have the right skills. Now, before we go any further, let me just say thank you for listening to our podcast. If there's anything that we can do for you, make sure you reach out. And now here's the interview with Brett. Brett, how are you?
Good.
I'm excited to have a chat with you today.
Yeah, likewise.
We're going to dive into this. I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about the business, FOHSE.
Yeah, so we're an engineering firm that specializes in creating high efficiency LED grow light applications. So we anything from commercial organic indoor produce to microgreens, and then our big one right now is cannabis.
It's the first thing I thought of when you say grow lights. I mean, I guess it is common to think about it these days. I'm kind of curious around this space. I don't live in a place where it's legalized, but where do you see the next, the industry going over the next 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, I think Europe is going to turn on. I think that we see Germany and Malta, and we see Greece looking at it. I mean, we see countries all over in the EU opening up. I think more and more and more in the US will open up, and it'll just become more readily accepted as a plant versus a drug.
Well, I can say I know there's benefits with a lot of the cancer things and a lot of the other things that are going on. And I don't partake myself, but it is something that I think is viable for a lot of people for whatever reasons. It's probably a lot safer than alcohol. So I appreciate the work that you're doing. Number 19 on the Inc. list. I mean, that's a pretty impressive growth rate. 14,708, is that right? That's a 3-year revenue growth rate. What do you attribute that to?
I think, having good technology, right? Not selling something that's fluff, selling something that's real and brings true value to your customer. And I think that operating ethically, right? So making sure that you're doing everything ethical and making sure that the customer comes first. And like I said, just really bring real value. I think that right now there's in this world that we live in, there's a lot of products that are brought to market or that are sold that really don't bring value. They're just marketing, and sell things versus things that like our fixtures will increase the yields that they get, right? So that's something that is bringing real true value to our customers, and the customers talk then, and once they see that, hey, this is it, this is a market disrupting piece of technology, then there's that law of diffusion and innovation, and once that bell curve is hit, then you start seeing the landslide that we're seeing right now.
Totally respect the fact that you get great technology, working things ethically, and bringing value. Just to repeat some of the things you said, but I would say there's probably another component to this, and maybe you didn't mean to overlook it, but it's your people. We came here to talk about the importance of a team and whatnot. How would you say your team has contributed to your ability to grow at the pace you have?
Oh, I mean, it's everything. I mean, the you can have all of this technology, and you can have all of this. You can have the best product in the world, but if you don't have the team behind it to take care of your customers, you don't have the team behind it to take care of anything from the books to the inventory, logistics, and everything else in between, then you really don't have a company. So for us, it was a little hard originally to depend on outside employees, and it was a little easier for us. I mean, we did something very unorthodox, and we hired from family. So we three of us, three of us founders originally, and then another guy came in, and so there was kind of four from the beginning. We only hired our family because we could count on them, and we knew that they were going to work hard, and we knew that we could trust them, and we could have those hard conversations with them, and they wouldn't take it personally. They knew that this is our lifeblood, and we were all working toward the same thing. So it was, I wouldn't say it wasn't stress free, but it was less stressful. I think working with family, because there's that trust, and that everybody knows the intention of why you're doing what you're doing.
Well, that explains what you told me earlier is since you've started, your turnover rate has been extremely low. In fact, only 2 people have moved on for really probably outside reasons that really aren't something a part of the work that you're doing. When you think about turnover, is there anything specifically you do to make sure that people are engaged with their work, they have, the right job, the right role? What comes to mind?
Yeah, absolutely. So originally we were all family, but now we've since grown into, obviously, we don't have family members that are videographers or specialists in marketing, and people that are doing social media, this and that. So we've branched out into now. We still call it the FOHSE family. We look at this. I'm from a big family, a family of 10. So I look at this as all these employees are my family, and I do care about their well-being, whether it be their mental state or where they're at. And so our turnover rate is very low because we pay people very well. We care about them. We offer full benefits. FOHSE pays for all of that, so they don't have they don't have to worry about that. So it's really, I think really it's not being greedy, and it's taking care of your people, making sure that they if they're, the way I really look at this, and I have this thing that was always in my head, is that if one of my people here are hurting, it doesn't make it, I can do very well, but I'm still not going to be happy with myself if the people that are working for me aren't being taken care of. So I think that's a really big thing for me, is just making sure everybody's good.
Now, hold on for a second. Brett just talked about how culture is like family, and it does work for many organizations. But when you get into the 50 or 100 employees inside of your core company, you will find that the culture of family gets a little bit harder because a lot of people begin to take it for granted. They will expect you not to fire them. I think culture should, we should look at it more like a professional sports team. We want the best people. We want people to engage well together and play well together, collaborate, trust each other. But we want to make sure that we're getting the best at every position, because today's markets are too complicated and it's too hard if you've got weak players in certain positions. And so I do appreciate this. I've even said it myself about cultures like family, but I want you to think about, there is another option out there of treating it like a professional team, and that you have these people that are the best at what they do, and that will allow you to grow even faster. Back to Brett. Brett, let's dive into one of the things that our team has done research on you. We've done the whole, looking at your company from the outside before we even engaged you, but you believe in building a confident team. First, let's describe, what is a confident team like?
I think it's a team that you can trust. I think it's a team that you don't have to micromanage. It's a team that that is emotionally stable. So it's a team that you can have hard conversations with and stern conversations with if things aren't going the way that you'd like to see them go. That's part of being able to have a competent team is emotionally competent, physically competent, and mentally competent.
Well, how do you as a leader build a confident team?
I think that there's a lot of working with with them, right? So, I mean, you hire on for that too, right? You look for what you're hiring. So for me, it's a lot of the hiring process too. I mean, we don't just hire anybody on, right? We have several interviews, and we get to know those people, and we get to see, like, are they go-getters? What have they done in the past? And it can be in any industry, right? But it's really just looking for the guy that is motivated, and it's I think it's something that people have. It's not really something you can train into somebody. I think that you can incentivize them by offering bonuses and a good pay. But in the end, I think that if they're only doing it for that reason, it's not going to turn out the best anyway. So I think that you really have to hire the right people, because that's been.
I'm always curious, do you have a hiring question or a process that allows you to see if someone is, got a little base level of confidence that you can work with?
No, I think it's just getting to know it. So, like I said, we have several interviews. We'll take the guys out to lunch. Just to be completely honest, we are, like I said, it's a FOHSE family thing here. I look at him like, is this a guy that I would hang out with? Is this a guy that or a girl, guy or girl, that I would be friends with? Is this a person that, because I truly want to be friends with every single person here. And if it doesn't check all of those boxes, then I don't think it'll fit the culture here. And our culture here is extremely special. I don't know very many corporations or companies in the world that have like a family vibe like we do here, right? We can work through things like that because we're all very similar.
Is this your first entrepreneurial venture, or did you have others?
I had others, yeah.
Were they as successful as this one?
This is a monster. I think, no, they weren't.
What did you decide to do differently this time? Is it just the market and people need grow lights, or is it something else that you feel like you put together with the team and the co-founders?
Well, so what's the question?
What did you do differently from those others? Is it just the industry, or did you decide to create leadership differently and create a culture that's different than the other ventures you were on?
Yeah, so my other ventures that I did, there's that, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with a team. So my other, I've had successful exits prior to this one, or we're not exiting, but prior to this venture. And they were all companies or models that I built by myself. And then I would, either hire out and have, whether it be marketing, graphic design, whatever, I would just outsource everything. And so, yeah, my first company was, the exit there was, a couple $1 million, $3 million. And then, every company after that was pretty similar. And, that's the truest statement ever. You cannot grow a big company that's going to have a legacy behind it by yourself. You have got to have a big, reliable, ethical team. And so when we were building this one, I was talking to my other co-founders, and they were like, hey, let's build this technology, let's get the patents set up, and then let's license the patents out and, go back to growing, right? Because that's where we met, right? In the grow space. And we had to have a couple conversations like, hey, there's a lot of value to building a team and bringing this to market ourselves, and then that was when it was kind of like, have that conversation of, do we do this quickly, or do we do, for the quick money and turn it over, sell the patents and then watch another company build something like what we've built right now? Or do we put the time and effort in, spend the 2-3 years in the negative, and, do it? Because we bootstrapped this entire company ourselves. We didn't bring on any debt or anything. We built this company from our hands, and we sold everything we had to do it. So that's something that's also pretty special. I think that the team also appreciates, is that we built this from the ground up.
Now, Brett just said something really interesting that I want to put a spotlight on for a second. If you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go far, go with a team. I'm not exactly sure who said that, but here's the thing I wanted to bring up behind it is, in order to build a team, you have to be a powerful leader. You cannot be a weak, leader without the confidence that you need. You want to make sure you're evolving powerfully through all this. You want to expand your ability, whether it be your skill set, whether it be your perspective, your beliefs, and be willing to evolve through all this. Because yes, you can go fast alone. That's absolutely true. But you can only go so far. You can only build such a, the size of organization that you need. You need to create places for people to be a team. And I really believe that if you want to go far, and that's a good example today for our guest, Brett. Now back to our interview. Brett, I want to take the rest of our time together to focus a little bit on your own journey as a leader and someone who understands that building a confident team matters. Is there anything you've done specifically that you can think has changed your confidence within your own self, trusting yourself to a higher level?
I think when you start seeing the deal size that we see here, that's I think where you'll draw confidence, because I think for me, confidence comes from results type of a guy.
Okay.
I unless I have a result and have a repeatable result, I won't be able to really draw confidence on it, right? So to see our customers and to see the results after 6-7 years of just consistently testing against everything else in the market, I mean, that's where I think a lot of the confidence comes in our product, because we've seen it over and over and over again.
Has there been a time when you were going through tough challenges that required you to shift your own perspective and change your style of leadership and approach?
Yeah, I mean, I think that on a small scale, I would say learning to appreciate if you don't want to come to work and really have to butt heads with people, right? So I think that maybe on a marketing or on a social media side or something, where the more creative, I'm less creative, right? I'm more analytical, and so I've had to in order to work with the creative side, I've had to become kind of creative myself, essentially, right? Try to open up to how does this work, and how does this work, and I would say that. I mean, I think that would be one of those things.
Well, I appreciate you sharing all this with us today. Is there anything else as it relates to building a confident team that you feel like we need to talk about before we break?
Yeah, I think that, if you have I think the hardest part about building a company like we've built here is building the right team. And it's harder to find good employees than it is to find good customers if you're in the right market. And so for me, I would say if you find employees that are rock solid and that you trust and that listen and share your vision, do whatever you need to do to make sure that their life is as good as yours or better. And because in the end, they're going to take care of you, and you just really have to make sure that you're paying those people, you're not being greedy, you're listening to those people, you're appreciating those people. Make sure that work environment that they come to is something that they know that they're appreciated. They know that they're becoming a part of something big.
Well said. Great way to end this podcast. Thank you for being here to share your journey, share
Absolutely.
The amazing insights you've had over building a company to 14,000% of growth in 3 years. Thank you, Brett.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Wow, what a fantastic episode. I love having these conversations with founders, CEOs of fast growth companies. It really is amazing to see how they think. Brett had been successful in past projects, but nothing is as big as FOHSE. And so we have an incredible time today talking about how to build a confident team. And really, when you think about building a confident team, you want to make sure that you are empowering them, that you are not micromanaging them, that you are having the difficult conversations, and they can do that well with their people too. So all that being said, I appreciate you listening in and tuning in today's podcast. If there's anything I can do for you, just let me know. When you think of growth and you think of leadership, think of Growth Think Tank. As always, lead with courage. We'll see you next time.